Today we are looking at a how many dudes build that literally breaks the game entirely. It's a known issue in the community and the developers are aware of it, and as such it will likely be patched before long. This build focuses on the pirate dude becoming invincible and the time dude stacking so much damage through their anomalies that when they detonate it, it entirely clears the screen of enemies in a split second. If you want to check this out before it gets patched, here is a breakdown of how it works. First, we'll cover the relics that really make this build go crazy. For the pirate and time dude, we're going to be looking for Time Trigger, which gives a 20% chance for anomalies to restore its timer and reserve its damage. The Rewinder, when the time dude takes fatal damage, his anomalies detonate for 200% damage, and he fully heals with an 8-second cooldown. The Fossilizer gives toughness for the time dude and the pirate dude, whichever dude happens to have the anomalies, so in this build, it'll be the pirate dude that gets it. Particle Accelerator, 20% buff to attack speed and run speed for 2 seconds on the pirate dude, and that stacks 5 times. Peg Leg gives the pirate dude an extra 20% HP. Hardtack, when the pirate dude takes damage below 30% HP but he survives, he has a 30% chance to fully heal and gain 20% evasion. The Chrono Towel gives 30% max HP and summons an extra anomaly for the time dude. The Barrel of Oranges gives the pirate dude 20% max HP, and when his crit hit lands, he gains 5% healing, and that can stack 5 times. Pocket Singularity, time anomalies copy 20% additional damage, obviously more damage when detonating, and then that also helps to clear the screen even faster. Pocket Flask, pirate dude takes fatal damage, he drinks from and he fully heals with a 6-second cooldown. We'll be looking for a couple of relics for the general dude, including the combat radio, and the frilled shoulder pads, which give the tactical command, heals 20% of target dudes for their max HP. Some other relics that are important, we'll be obviously looking for the medical license. This is a must-have. Give it to the ghost. The chef we'll be putting at the top of our roster, so that way he actually gets some bonus attack damage as well. But since his food scales directly off of this attack damage, we want his to be fairly high. The ghost just happens to have better damage overall, so the medical license works best on him. We'll give the fedora to the pirate dude, simply because we're only going to have one of him, so every time you add an additional dude that is a dude you have the most of already, it will increase the attack damage for that pirate dude, basically. So it exponentially scales. Every time you get new dudes, you have a chance of increasing that even further. The Vault, which is just for extra income, it'll be best for you so you can get easier and higher investments along the way. 5k for the initial investment is optimal, but it's very difficult to get, especially for a lot of people. I've seen a ton of comments saying that they just can't do it. Really relying on RNG for that. For Incident Calendar, attack power, it stacks every dude on your roster will get extra attack power until one of them gets knocked out. So as long as your survivability is high, you'll basically never have a dude get knocked out, and this will continually stack. In the very late game, this is not going to matter as much because you're going to lose dudes no matter what you do, but you'll be able to purchase so many items that you'll just balance it out anyways. And then some relics that I didn't specifically pull out named-wise, just ones that you should be looking out for. Any relics that increase your attack speed, your attack power, cleave, crit chance, or damage. All of that will give you higher DPS, which is going to equal higher healing through your ghost and everything else in your chef dude. Any survivability relics, anything that gives you extra HP or healing, evasion, block, deflection, toughness, anything like that. And then hidden daggers. This is one that I will specifically mention here just because it's just so good. The extra cleave means that you'll have chances for extra hits, which obviously increases your DPS. More DPS means more healing, it just gives you a better chance to survive. For our team composition, we're going to be using the chef dude, the ghost dude, general dude, pirate dude, and time dude, in that order. The order is important for this, as the general and time dude have a specific order of whom they buff. The time dude is going to buff any dude beside him on the roster, which means above or below. If he's placed anywhere besides at the top slot or the bottom slot, he's going to be buffing 2 separate dudes. We want him to only be buffing the pirate dude. Placing him on the bottom of the roster guarantees that he will only apply his anomalies to the pirate dude and nobody else. The general dude applies to the dude below him on the roster. So I have the chef dude on top so he can utilize relics like the championship belt for the extra attack power to increase his healing effectiveness. He and Ghost can be swapped around. Ghost has medical license, so the extra damage would mean extra healing, but the Ghost already has higher DPS, so it works out fine the way I have it set up right here. Pushing through rounds. In early rounds, you will likely find that you are fairly squishy, so your primary focus will be on getting relics to increase your healing, survivability, and your damage. Increasing your damage will give you better healing, and the extra survivability will ensure you don't lose dudes along the way. Your next objective will be to get your Time Dude's relics to increase how many anomalies you can generate and how much damage they can store, as well as grabbing those for the General and Pirate Dude. If you find that your healing is beginning to fall behind, you can grab a couple of Chef relics to help increase his burger capacity, starting a battle with them already made, or even adding extra to it that provides buffs. You'll be looking for your key relics as you progress through the rounds, the most important being the medical license, as with it on your Ghost Dude will substantially increase your healing. Once you've gotten a handful of relics and the medical license going, you should be fairly beefy. Try and save as much money as you can for the initial investment. Starting out with 2k means you end up with 16k for your final return only, if you don't happen to invest any more. If you're having a hard time surviving without spending your money, you can always save as much as possible for the second investment, but remember it's going to be a lot harder for you to balance that out by the end. If you can get a 5k investment initially, you'll get a 40k return without investing any additional funds. This is going to allow you to buy almost every relic available. I usually get around 5k, but I've had runs where my first investment was only 3k. I was then able to put around 4k more into the second investment, which did end up balancing it out then. The way it works will be whatever you put in the first time doubles for each return, and you get a total of 4. So you're going to get 8 times whatever your initial investment was. If you put in 2k at the start, and then you don't invest anything else for any of the extra investments, you're only going to get 16k total for your final return, which is still a lot of money, but comparatively speaking, you're going to be shy a lot of relics that might have helped you survive. For the final setup and getting into endless pushing, with your fairly solid team now pushing into the higher rounds and your investment doing its thing, you can now sparingly buy additional relics if you feel they are important at that moment. 40k from your investment will be enough to get you the vast majority of relics, and as such, you don't really need to invest more along the way. If you can get 5k for the initial investment, that means you're going to get 40k for your return, and thus you can spend every other dollar on extra relics if you need to survive. If not, you can always invest more, and that just gives you more options later to buy extra items or whatever else. Getting the Fedora on your Pirate Dude alongside the medical license on your Ghost will make rounds extremely fast, so even timed relics like the Brass Knuckles will be active the entire round. Once you are at the point where the anomaly is detonating, clear every enemy, you're basically set for endless. Your only real concern now will be one-hit KOs, which should primarily not be an issue between your Ghost and Chef Dude healing, and the General Dude being able to heal the Pirate Dude with his relic. There are multiple relics that can help prevent a one-hit KO or even revive a dude that was knocked out, so these can also help if you find you are lacking. At this point, you've cleared the boss and are pushing well into the 100s. Now the only real thing to be concerned about is the initial damage wave on higher rounds. Right when all the enemies strike, the damage can be so high that even with insane healing and overhealing, a dude may end up getting knocked out. Use the potions or mushrooms as your timed relics expire to help minimize your losses to just a few dudes. You'll likely have every relic by now, leaving only items left to buy in the store. The Vault Relic will trigger enough that you can afford to maintain your item usage indefinitely at this point. Use a Dude Juice or 2 after a round and pop your single potion or mushroom as needed for each round, and then just replenish at the next shop. I hope you find this build useful, and I'd love to hear how far you make it, or if it helped you clear the higher difficulties. If you haven't already, I would ask that you subscribe and leave a like and a comment down below for me. Take care, everyone, and thank you for watching.